Hello, my fellow handicappers. This is Weekend Handicapper from weekendhandicapper.com. In this video, I'm going to discuss how not to bet the Kentucky Derby future pool. You know, when I started this channel way back in 2014, it was just, over the years, people would ask me how to handicap and how to bet horses. When we'd go out to the track, they'd look at those programs and the form, and they couldn't make heads or tails with it. And they knew I was into it, that I've been doing it for a while. So they would always ask me how to do it or how to bet. Who should I bet on? What should I look for when I'm looking at all this hieroglyphics looking like another language kind of thing? So when I made this channel way back in 2014, it was all about continuing that on a grander scale. So just instead of helping my buddies, my friends that I go to the track with, strangers that overhear me sounding like I know what I'm doing at the track, I wanted to do it on a grander scale because I thought if I can help more people on a grander scale through the use of YouTube, know how to bet on horses, hopefully stop losing money or as much money and ideally make money when you go to the track every now and then. And so from day one, I started making these videos. I wanted to help people learn how to handicap and, just as important, if not more important, how to bet on horses. And so I wanted to make this video today because yet again, I see it happening and it astounds me. And here's what I'm talking about. So we just learned that Life is Good is off the Kentucky Derby trails, not going to race in the Kentucky Derby. It's a shame for its connections. Bob Baffert has like 23 other horses, it seems like, that's probably going to run in the Derby, so I'm not going to feel bad for him too much. But for the owners of the horse, that's a thrilling thing to go to Kentucky Derby, of course, and especially with a talented horse like that. But that horse was hyped up a lot, and maybe for good reason. We'll never know as it pertains to the Kentucky Derby. But after that San Felipe win, people were going nuts. They were just like, oh my gosh, this is the next American Pharoah, the next Secretariat. But yet we don't know. We'll never know that. But here's what I wanted to make this video about, is the hype that came along with that in the moments and the days following his dominating win in the San Felipe, and how that translated into the Kentucky Derby future pool. For those that are new, basically that is, you have a few pools, I think 3 total, that you can get odds locked in already months before the Kentucky Derby starts. So you don't get the post time odds, you get whatever you locked into, those odds that are locked in once that Kentucky Derby future pool closes. It could be a risky bet, which we'll talk about, but it could be a very profitable bet. But here's the thing, Life is Good, that was happening. He won on a Saturday. Kentucky Derby pool was that weekend as well, and just the hysteria going on and people just loving that horse. Recency bias, they call it. What you just saw, what you just witnessed, and how that factors into decisions. That horse was bet down in the Kentucky Derby future pool 2-1. And if you've been following horse racing in the Kentucky Derby trail for at least a couple years, if not, more than that, or if you're brand new, it's good to know this. You are taking a huge risk. There's no guarantees. These thoroughbred horses are fragile animals. There are no guarantees that they're going to make the Kentucky Derby starting gate in the first Saturday in May. These fragile things, creatures, I should say, animals, not things, I guess. Get a little respect. So they're very, very expensive, fragile animals, these horses are. So It's one thing. Look, I put a future bet on Essential Quality. I've been a fan of that horse ever since, last year at Keeneland, Breeders' Cup, done well for me. So I love putting future bets in. But here's the point I'm trying to make, or going to make in this video. It's one thing to put a future bet that's offering value. There's other future bets that just don't make no sense. To me, Life is Good made no sense. Why in the world would anybody put money on a horse that's 2-1 months before the Kentucky Derby happens? The Kentucky Derby can be a chaotic race with so many horses in there trying a certain the distance for the first time in their life. But I'm talking about the gamble is before they even get to the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby. And so I'm not taking any horse. I don't care how great you think they're going to be at 2-1 months before the Kentucky Derby even starts. I don't even hardly bet 2-1 on a Wednesday at Gulfstream Park, especially in the Kentucky Derby. So for those that bet on Life is Good in the future pools, I would love to hear the rationale why somebody would take 2-1 months before the Kentucky Derby in the future pool. What is that a good bet? Like when the Kentucky Derby, if Life is Good made the Kentucky Derby, how much lower was Life is Good going to be? You don't get really heavy favorites in the Kentucky Derby. Matter of fact, 2-1 is probably a heavy favorite in the Kentucky Derby. So it made no sense to bet, to put your money on that kind of a situation made no sense to me. It defeats the whole purpose, in my opinion, of a Kentucky Derby future pool. You're trying to get better odds than you would get at post time. And I have a hard time believing someone's going to have to sell me on how much better odds would you have got at post time when they ran in the Kentucky than 2-1 2 or 3 months before the Kentucky Derby. And you see this all the time, and I guarantee this is what happened. I put it on Twitter when I tweeted it out after I was witnessing this. People saw that impressive run, and it coincided with the Kentucky Derby future pool, and people were wrapped up in the moment. You see this all the time, not just in horse racing, betting on horses, but other areas of our life. People get wrapped up in the hysteria and the things of the moment, and they don't think right. They don't think logically, and they don't make good decisions. And if you got caught up in buying into Life is Good, like I said, who knows? We'll never know. That horse could have dominated Kentucky Derby. But my point is 2-1 worth the risk? What are you gaining? What's the reward? I can understand if it was 8-1 and then you thought this horse was just going to dominate, and then when the Kentucky Derby was ran, it was 9-5 or 2-1. Heck yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's why you see me, ever since I've been making these videos, talk about what is value. And you can't make any money if you consistently bet the favorites. You're always trying to beat the favorites, play against the favorites, vulnerable favorites. Not to say Life is Good was a vulnerable favorite, but my point of this video is it made no sense. Why on earth would you take any horse, no matter how dominating you think it's going to be in the Kentucky Derby, at 2-1 months before the race even starts? There's so many things that can happen on the Kentucky Derby trail before they race in the Kentucky Derby. So hopefully, if you ever bet the Kentucky Derby future pools, hopefully, if you don't already know, at least consider, try not taking too low of a price on a horse, no matter how dominating you think they're going to be, because the odds are you're not going to get much lower than 2-1 in the Kentucky Derby regardless. So now all these people that bet in the Kentucky Derby future pools on Life is Good, and either tons of people must have bet for the odds to be 2-1. All those people that bet, it was just like, man, now your money's gone. You don't even have a shot. It's one thing to bet on a horse and it loses in the race. Well, at least it had an opportunity to race and win the race. Now that money's just gone. And it's okay if the odds was 20-1, 50-1 or something. Yeah, it's worth taking that gamble. That's my point. It's not worth taking that gamble in a Kentucky Derby future pool at 2-1 when there's so many things that can happen to these horses before they even get in the starting gate. So make good, I say this all the time at the end of these videos. Happy handicapping and smart wagering. That was not a smart wager. I don't care how much hype a horse has or how many lengths it wins in a horse race, in a big Derby prep horse race. That is not a smart wager. 2-1 in a Kentucky Derby future pool is not a smart wager, in my opinion. If you're going to play these Kentucky Derby future pools, bet on horses that you think you're getting better odds now than you will in the Kentucky Derby. And maybe Life is Good, if he would have stayed on the Kentucky Derby trail, maybe his odds would have been better than 2-1 when it raced in the Kentucky Derby. But I don't know, you ain't got that much more to go. I mean, you hardly ever see very, very heavy favorites in the Kentucky Derby. It made no sense. I hate that Life is Good is not on the Kentucky Derby trail. In a way, it opens it up for a better betting race now, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's part of me that wishes he was still in the race so I can bet against it, because most people's money seemed like it was going to Life is Good. And there's a common saying in horse racing, you zig when other people zags, or you zags when other people zig, whatever that expression is. Go the other way. Go the other way. When the mass of people's betting on one horse, look for flaws in that one horse and take gambles. You're getting better return on your money. There's no guarantees in horse racing, even before they get to the starting gate. That's your first hurdle, getting to the Kentucky Derby. Second one is that horse winning that race. That's why you always try to beat the favorites. That's why you always try to play against the favorites. If you do, and people say, no, this horse is going to win. I told you, I'd rather sit out the race than bet on a heavy favorite or a horse that's getting that much hype. I get excited not for that horse. I get excited, who can I beat that horse with? What other horses can win? All right. Yeah. I was fired up when that Kentucky Derby future pool was going on, and everybody on social media and Twitter was just loving Life is Good. I'm like, pump the brakes, folks. Pump the brakes, folks. There's no way in hell I'm going to be betting 2-1 on a Kentucky Derby future pool. I don't care how good that horse might be. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you bet the Kentucky Derby future pool, please, just like any other bet, try to find some value, make some good decisions, make those bets on horses that are going to be better at, or you're getting better odds than you will at post time. Hot Rod Charlie's a great example. I've saw some people that locked in some really good odds on Hot Rod Charlie. Doesn't mean he's going to win the Kentucky Derby, but at the very least, we know that the odds are going to be a lot less than 50-1 or whatever. Certain people got Hot Rod Charlie future odds, but they got to make it to the starting gate first, and that's a gamble in itself. So if you're going to gamble like that, you better get some good return for your bets. All right? Whew, I feel better. I had to get it out. You all take care. Until next time, happy handicapping, smart wagering.